Okay, we have reached the end of the preparation videos. In this last video, I'm going to talk about practice tests, what to do on practice tests, and also about what to do on the real exam, the real SAT. Okay, so practice tests are important because they are the best way to predict your real score. And this is very important. It doesn't really matter how you feel you're progressing. You may feel you're having progress, or you may feel you're not progressing at all. You may see the questions from the exercises and you may feel bad or you may feel good. But actually, you don't know until you take a practice test. Whatever the practice test says, that's what you want to, or that's what you know to be true. So if you want to predict what is going to be your score in the real digital SAT, you take a practice test. That's the closest thing you can get. You also want to take one practice test before you start preparing. I said this in the first video, but you have to remember you want to take one practice test before you start preparing, and then one right after you finish all the theory. Of course, it's not that you're going to take only one after. You want to take one right after you finish all the theory, and from then on, keep uh, taking more practice tests. And you want to write down all your scores. Even though Blue Book does keep track of your scores, you want to write them down. You want to keep track on your own scores. You can compare and you can analyze your progress. Okay, so the module, or the setup of the test is you have a reading and writing. You have two modules, 64 minutes in total. Then you have a break, and then you have the math modules, which in total last 70 minutes. You want to be aware of that, because when you want to take a practice test, you want to clear the time for taking a full practice test. Okay, how to take a practice test, things to do. You want to use official material, so you want to use the official practice test from Blue Book. You want to take your practice test in the morning at roughly the same time you will take the official exam. Try not to take them in the afternoon, try not to take them in the evening. You want to recreate the conditions of the real exam, and you want to avoid distractions. Let's say you live in a busy street, you live in a big family, you don't really have silence. Okay, use headphones, use whatever it is you have to use in order to isolate yourself and recreate the conditions of the real exam. Things you don't want to do: you don't want to do a new practice test before checking the previous. This is really important. Do not start a new practice test if you haven't finished checking the previous practice test, if you haven't gone over your mistakes. It's useless for you to just keep taking practice tests without really analyzing what went wrong in the previous ones. Okay, that's a waste of time and a waste of material. Okay, material you're gonna need: you're gonna need your laptop, you're gonna need pencils, paper, eraser, sharpener, notebook, and a calculator. The notebook, although in the real exam you have scrap paper, I want you to take your practices on a notebook so you can check your solutions. So when you review, you can check what you did. So again, you can improve. And as we saw in the video of checking your mistakes, you can review your mistakes. And of course, I don't expect you to remember what you were thinking or to remember the solution of a question. That's why you check your notebook. Okay, the practice test itself, you want to download Blue Book, which is the app in which you're going to take your practice test a few days before taking the practice test to make sure it works fine. It doesn't work in certain laptops, it doesn't work in certain operating systems, so just make sure to download it beforehand so you are not wasting time in the real moment in which you want to try the practice test. And you'll take note of the questions you find difficult on your notebook and not on scrap paper. So while you're taking the practice test, you want to write down the questions that you found difficult, either the topics or just the number of the questions, so you can check. It's also important that you write down the number of the questions that you guess, because again, in the Blue Book app, just you can just choose the answer, but you don't know which ones you're guessing or which ones you're actually solving. So the schedule of the practice test, you will ideally start between 8:30 and 9 a.m. You want to start in order, and you want to take clear the time for 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is the duration of the exam. You do want to take a 10-minute break. So this happens, a lot of students don't take that break because they feel that they don't need to take the break. But since in the real digital SAT you are going to take the break, my advice is just practice taking the break between the reading and writing module and the math module. Okay, about the breaks, you can take more breaks if you want to, but you're going to lose testing time, which means the break that you take between the verbal section and the math section is just you have 10 minutes to just go outside and not having to think about the exam. If you want to take a break, let's say you want to go to the bathroom and you're already like in half the first module of math or half the second module of math, and you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, but the exam will keep going on, will keep running. Now, during the breaks, you can drink water, eat something, go to the bathroom, but do not check your cell phone or any other distracting device. Again, this is a practice test, but for the practice test to work, for this to be a correct prediction or a close prediction to the real exam, you want to recreate the conditions. So just don't check your cell phone during the break. Don't talk to anybody during the break. Just go to the bathroom, drink some water, have a snack, and just don't do something that you wouldn't do in the real exam. Okay, allow devices. Well, you have to turn off your cell phone, so you cannot use your cell phone and you cannot look at your cell phone. Don't put it in airplane mode. Don't think, oh, I'm gonna put my cell phone on airplane mode. I'm just gonna use it to look at the time. No, just put your cell phone away, like turn it off, give it to somebody else. Just don't look at it. Okay, so you can use an analog watch or digital smartwatch that is not connected to any other device, just so you can check the time. Of course, you can check the time on the computer, but if you feel that you want to check like faster or something like that, you can totally just use a watch. And you want to use a calculator that is not part of any other device. So sometimes you use the calculator on your cell phone. So you may think, I'm not going to use my cell phone. I'm going to put it in airplane mode and I'm just going to use the calculator. Well, you won't be able to do that in the exam. So just don't do that. Just grab your own calculator, the calculator that you will use in the real exam. Okay, about scoring, after you finish the exam, you want to check your answers on the app. You want to write down, again, you want to write it down on your notebook, how many correct questions you got from each section, and check your mistakes one by one. And then you want to write all the information in your notebook. Again, even if Blue Book still records or will still have the information, you want to have it on your own. When you review, you want to review the reading first. I already explained why. You want to review the reading as soon as you finish, as soon as you have the time, do the review, the reading. You want to check every single mistake, not just for the reading. You want to check every single mistake for the reading, for the writing, and for the math, every single one. Again, even if you think you made a silly mistake, you still want to check. And you want to write down your common mistakes for everything, for the reading, for the writing, and for the math. So let's say in reading, maybe your common mistake is you choose the opposite information. In the writing, maybe your common mistake is transition words. And in math, maybe your common mistake is silly mistake, like I usually get, I don't know, the signs wrong. And after checking and understanding your mistakes, you want to redo the questions you got wrong. You could do this the next day or in the afternoon. So let's say you take your practice test during the morning, you check everything, okay, you move on with your life, and the next day, instead of taking another practice test, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the questions you got wrong, to every single one of the questions you got wrong, and redo them and expect them to be correct this time. Because if you understood the mistakes, if you really got the mistake or the reasons why you got it wrong, then you will be able to get them right. And if you don't, it means you still haven't finished understanding your mistakes. Okay, about the real test. The week before the real test, you want to do the following. You want to focus more on eliminating common mistakes than on learning new topics, which means the week before your real digital SAT, you don't really want to learn more things. What you want to do is you want to eliminate the mistakes that you're already making. So your goal is not to improve by learning more or having more knowledge. Your goal is to improve by just not making as many mistakes as you're making now. You want to practice how to guess or plug in alternatives. You want to practice the extra strategy. You want to practice just increasing the likelihood of getting the answer right, even if you don't know exactly how to solve the question. You want to go back over previous full exams. I mean, you may not want to do the full exam, but you definitely want to do every single mistake. So let's say you took a practice test like 2 months before, and then you moved on. You want to go back to the very first practice test that you took 2 months ago. And again, if you understood everything, if you take another practice test or you take a previous practice test, you're supposed to get everything right. You're supposed to get every single question right. And if you don't, it means you still need to go over your mistakes. You want to go to bed early every day. This is important because maybe you are used to going to bed late, but since the exam is like early in the morning or during the morning, then you want to practice that. You want to create a habit of going to bed early. And of course, it's not enough that you just go to bed early the day before. You actually want to go to bed early before that, like a week before and a week in advance, even 2 weeks in advance, to create the habit. Don't drink or eat anything out of the ordinary. You do not want to get food poison, or you do not want to get like a sick stomach on the day of the exam. Just try to not mess with your body that much, so you eliminate the extra possibilities that may make you have a bad exam. Don't travel. Now, if you have to travel for location, maybe you have to travel to the part in which you're going to take the exam, try to take it at least, or try to do the trip at least 2 days in advance. I usually advise people in general to take your trip like at least a week in advance, but you're a teenager, you can handle it, so at least 2 days in advance. Do not travel the day before. I mean, this has I mean, the reasons for this is, well, once your body, you want to get used to it. You don't want to be tired from traveling. Traveling always tires the body, even if it's like a half an hour airplane trip. Your body's still gonna be under stress. And the other reason is, you don't know, like, we don't know what's gonna happen with the airplane. Maybe your plane is gonna get canceled. We don't know, right? We don't know. So we're just going to reduce the chances of something bad happening. Now, the day before the exam, you want to take the day off. I usually advise my students, do not study, don't solve, don't do anything before. And if you feel pressure to study because you didn't study too long in advance, okay, go ahead, study. Do it during the morning, do it before lunch. Then you finish studying, and then you take a nap and you reset. Like, you take a nap, and then during the evening, you do nothing. Okay, and this is important. The nap is really important because you want to reset your brain. You don't want just like fully go on as if it were like a full day. Like, you want to reset your brain as if you created 2 new days, like the day in which you study and the day in which you relax. You want to relax and go to bed early. You want to prepare all your documents and devices. Do not prepare the day of the exam, do it the day before. You want to prepare your snack and water. You want to fully charge your laptop. You're taking your own laptop to the center. You want to make a checklist for the morning, so the things that you want to review during the morning. Do not try to learn any new formulas. Even if you study, the way in which you're going to study is by doing mistakes that you have already made in the past. Don't try to do new topics. Don't try to do new exercises. Don't try to learn any new formulas. And don't go to Reddit or other platforms looking for advice. Don't go to Reddit to look for stories about the SAT. These are things that, I mean, it's not bad that you go to Reddit. You could go to Reddit right now or 2 weeks in advance. Don't do it the day before, because you're just going to increase your anxiety. Okay, the day of the exam, things you also want to do, you want to wake up ahead of time, especially if you usually maybe you are not used to waking up that early, or you usually take more time. Just wake up ahead of time. Poop if you can. This may sound like ridiculous, but trust me, like the anxiety that something organically can produce, maybe it may influence your exam. So just go to the bathroom if you can. If you cannot, it's okay, move on. Okay, but if you can, poop so you can get more relaxed. You want to drink enough water. Be careful, because if you drink too much water, you're gonna have to you wanna want to pee too much. So just drink enough water, like stay hydrated, but also don't drink like 2 liters of water in the morning before the exam. You want to stretch or do some other light physical activity. Remember that stress and anxiety is a physical thing. So if you feel anxious or you feel stressed, you can kind of release some of that stress or some of that anxiety. If you usually jog, you can totally go for a jog. You can just do some yoga, just stretch. You can dance a little. Just do something that is going to help you release that extra energy. You want to have breakfast, not too big but nutritious. Maybe just a smoothie. Maybe you don't really have to eat, especially if you don't eat that early. For example, I don't really eat that early, so I will usually just have like fruit or a juice or a smoothie. You want to go over your checklist, especially with somebody. If you have a family member that can do this with you, do it together. You want to go early to the test center again, just in case something happens. You just want to go early. You want to go to the bathroom as many times as you feel. This is important. I don't know if it happens to you, but sometimes you feel the need to go to the bathroom, go to pee, and you say, no, I'm gonna wait until, or for something to happen, and then I'm gonna go pee. Let's say you want to go pee, but you're already having breakfast, and instead of standing up and going to pee, you finish your breakfast. Don't do that. go to the bathroom as soon as you feel like you have to go to the bathroom. Okay, don't delay that, because many things. First, you may not have the time to go to the bathroom afterwards. You may even forget that you have to go to the bathroom because you're too anxious or too stressed. So as soon as you feel the need to go to the bathroom, just get up and go. You want to listen to a song you like or that makes you feel really good. This is important. You want to put yourself in a very good mood. Again, some people think this is like not relevant, but it is. You want to get yourself in a good mood. So you want to give yourself positive self-talk, like yes, you got it, I got this, it's okay, I'm okay. Like, use that. You do want to say that out loud. Don't just think those words, don't just think those thoughts, like actually say those words to you. You want to remember that the test is easier than what it looks, especially in the math section, even though you made it, like when you're already there, it looks like a big equation, like a big term, big expressions. Remember, if you study all the topics, there are no new topics. There's nothing that the SAT is going to show you that you haven't seen before if you already finished all the topics. Okay, you want to answer every question. You don't want to eat or drink anything out of your routine, like in the morning, in your breakfast, or even as a snack. Don't bring a snack like a completely new thing that you have never tried before. Okay, like as a snack, you want to bring something that you like and something that you have tried before. Remember also that it's okay to be nervous and anxious. If you feel nervous or anxious, don't feel bad about feeling nervous or anxious. That's just going to create a snowball of feelings. So you can try to relax. I mean, the thing I said about doing some yoga or jogging is going to help you relax. But if you still feel anxious, that's okay. It's just a feeling. So don't worry too much about that. Like, don't feel bad on top of feeling anxious. And don't spend too much time of questions you find difficult. You have to remember to let go. We have practiced letting go and choosing an answer, regardless of whether we know how to solve it. So, all of these are things that you want to consider for the day of the exam. Okay, we have reached the end of the videos. Here's my website. You can contact me. But basically, I hope you have a very good test. Remember to be, if you study everything and you did everything correctly, you are going to have a good test. And good luck.